The notification came through at 2:50 a.m. while I was in a hotel room in Phoenix, 3 states away from home. I wasn't supposed to see it. That's what made it so perfect, or so devastating, depending on which side of the betrayal you're standing on. My name is Derek Patterson, and I'm a regional sales director for an industrial equipment company. The job requires me to travel about 15 days a month, visiting clients and managing accounts across the Southwest. My wife, Natalie, had always been supportive of my career. 15 years of marriage, 2 kids, Emma, 13, and Tyler, 10, a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs of Austin, Texas. We had the life everyone pretends to want on social media. That night in Phoenix, I couldn't sleep. Jet lag, or maybe the steak I'd eaten for dinner, wasn't sitting right. I grabbed my phone to check my email, maybe scroll through some mindless content until my eyes got heavy. That's when I saw it. A text notification from Natalie's cloud account, synced to my iPad that I'd left charging on the nightstand. We'd set up family sharing years ago when the kids were younger, mainly so we could track their devices and share photos. I'd honestly forgotten our accounts were still linked. The preview showed a message from someone named Jim Don't Save. Already, alarm bells were ringing. Who names a contact like that unless they're trying to hide something? I opened the notification, the messages loaded, and my stomach dropped through the floor. Can't wait to feel you again. Tomorrow when he's in Dallas? I scrolled up. The conversation went back weeks. Months, actually. April, and it was now late September. 5 months of messages. 5 months of my wife planning meetups with someone while I was traveling for work. The messages were explicit enough to leave no doubt about what was happening, but carefully worded, like they both knew to avoid being too graphic in writing. My hands were shaking. I kept scrolling, finding references to afternoons at the usual place, comments about how they only had 2 hours, complaints about having to play the good wife tonight when I came home. There were photos, too. Nothing completely explicit, thank God, but enough. Natalie in lingerie I'd never seen. Natalie in what looked like a hotel room I didn't recognize. One photo showed her hand intertwined with someone else's, a man's hand, wearing a distinctive silver watch. I sat there in that hotel room, the air conditioning humming, the digital clock mocking me with its bright red numbers. 2:51 a.m. 4 minutes. My entire world had collapsed in 4 minutes. The rational part of my brain kicked in. I needed evidence. I needed to document everything before she realized I knew, before anything could be deleted or explained away. I grabbed my laptop and started taking screenshots. Every message. Every photo. I backed them up to a private email account I created on the spot, then to a USB drive I found in my laptop bag. I organized them by date, noted patterns in the timing, always when I was traveling, always during specific windows. Then I started digging deeper into her account. I found deleted messages in the archive that painted an even clearer picture. References to someone named Blake in messages to her sister, Melissa. Blake thinks I should leave Derek. Blake says I deserve to be happy. Blake wants me to tell the kids soon. Blake. Now I had a name. I checked her photo stream. There, buried among hundreds of pictures of the kids' soccer games and school events, I found them. Photos from a weekend back in July when I'd been at a conference in Seattle. Natalie had told me she was taking the kids to her mother's place in San Antonio. But the photos showed her at what looked like a lake house, and in several of them, partially cropped but still visible, was a man. Tall, athletic build, dark hair, always just out of frame, like she'd tried to crop him out but hadn't been thorough enough. I cross-referenced the dates with my calendar. Every single time I'd been out of town for more than 2 days, there were gaps in her photo stream or pictures that didn't quite match her story. By 4:30 a.m., I had compiled a comprehensive timeline. I had proof of at least 15 separate occasions where Natalie had met with this Blake person. I had messages discussing their future together. I had evidence that she'd been planning to ask for a divorce but was waiting for the right time. The right time. Like there's ever a right time to blow up your children's lives. I should have been crying. I should have been throwing things or punching walls. Instead, I felt cold. Analytical. My mind was already 3 steps ahead, calculating moves like a chess game. I had a presentation to give in Phoenix at 9 a.m. It was a major client, potentially a $2 million contract. The old Derek, the one who existed before 2:47 a.m., would have called in sick, booked the first flight home, and confronted Natalie immediately. But that Derek was gone. The new Derek understood something crucial. The element of surprise was the only advantage I had. If I went home now, emotional and unprepared, Natalie would spin the narrative. She'd make me the villain somehow. She'd tell the kids I was never home, that I chose my career over family. She'd paint herself as the lonely wife who found comfort elsewhere. No, I needed to be smart about this. I sent Natalie a good morning text at 6 a.m., just like I always did when traveling. Hope you slept well. Big presentation today. Love you. She responded 20 minutes later with a heart emoji and, good luck, babe. Babe. The casual cruelty of that word made my jaw clench. I got dressed, went to my presentation, and absolutely crushed it. The presentation went flawlessly. 23 executives from 6 different companies, and I didn't miss a beat. My hands didn't shake when I clicked through the slides. My voice stayed steady when I fielded questions about implementation timelines and ROI projections. I even made them laugh twice. I closed a $2.3 million contract at 11:47 a.m. My phone buzzed with congratulations from my boss while I was still shaking hands. Natalie texted at noon. Hope your presentation went well. Miss you. I stared at that heart emoji for a full minute before typing back. Crushed it. Home tomorrow night. Love you. The lies came easier than I expected. I landed in Austin at 6:22 p.m. Thursday. Natalie picked me up at the airport wearing the blue sundress I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. She kissed me at baggage claim, her hand on my chest, and I kissed her back. Tasted her lipstick. Felt her fingers curl into my shirt. Missed you, she said. Missed you too. Every word was a performance now. Every gesture calculated. I was playing the role of Derek Patterson, devoted husband, while something colder operated the controls. Emma hugged me when I walked through the door. Tyler showed me his science project, a volcano made from papier-mâché that actually erupted when he added vinegar to the baking soda crater. I praised his work, helped Natalie set the table. We had chicken parmesan, Tyler's favorite. Normal. Everything perfectly, poisonously normal. Natalie's phone sat face down beside her plate. It buzzed once during dinner. She didn't check it. Work? I asked. Probably. She smiled. I'll look later. I wondered if Blake was texting her right now, asking when he could see her again, asking when I'd be gone next. After dinner, I unpacked in our bedroom while Natalie helped Tyler with homework downstairs. I moved methodically, hanging shirts in the closet, placing my toiletry bag in the bathroom. Then I did what I'd been planning since Phoenix. I opened Natalie's nightstand drawer. It took me 4 minutes to find what I was looking for. A small journal, leather-bound, tucked beneath a stack of magazines she never read. I'd given it to her 3 Christmases ago. She'd said she wanted to start writing down her thoughts, capturing memories. Apparently, she had. I photographed every page with my phone. Didn't read them yet. Couldn't afford the time or the emotional reaction. Just documented everything, page by page, my hands moving with mechanical precision. 23 pages total. I could see her handwriting, see dates scattered throughout. April 17th, May 3rd, June 28th. The timeline of her affair, written in her own hand. I replaced the journal exactly as I'd found it, closed the drawer, sat on the edge of our bed and transferred the photos to my encrypted cloud backup. Then I went downstairs and asked if anyone wanted ice cream. Friday morning, I told my boss I needed to work from home for a few days. Personal matter, nothing urgent. He didn't question it, not after Phoenix. I'd earned flexibility. Natalie left for work at 8:15 a.m. Emma and Tyler caught the bus at 7:45. The house went quiet. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with my laptop, started reading. The journal entries were worse than the text messages, more detailed, more honest. Natalie's internal voice, unfiltered, spilling across pages in blue ink. April 17th. Met Blake for coffee after the budget meeting. Just coffee, nothing else, but God. The way he looked at me. Like I'm still interesting. Like I'm not just Derek's wife or the kid's mom. When did Derek stop looking at me like that? My coffee went cold while I read. May 3rd. We kissed today. In his car, in the parking garage. I told myself I'd stop before it went this far, but I didn't want to stop. I haven't felt wanted like this in years. Derek's always traveling, always focused on the next deal, the next promotion. When did I become part of the background? There it was, the justification, the narrative she'd constructed where I was the villain, and Blake was salvation. June 28th, Derek's in Seattle. Blake came over. I told the kids I had a work emergency and asked Melissa to take them for the night. We had the house to ourselves. It felt like being alive again. June 28th. I'd been closing the Seattle account. The biggest deal of my career at that point. I'd called her from my hotel room that night, told her about the contract, how proud I was. She'd said she was proud of me too. She'd said it from our bed, where Blake had been 3 hours earlier. I kept reading. July 15th. Blake wants me to leave Derek. Says he's serious about us, about a future. I told him I need time. The kids, the house, everything we've built. It's complicated. But God, part of me wants to just burn it all down and start over. August 9th. Derek bought me flowers today. Random Thursday, no occasion. They're sitting on the counter and all I can think about is how guilty I feel. How he has no idea. Maybe I should tell him. Maybe that would be kinder than this slow betrayal. But she hadn't told me. She'd kept the flowers in a vase on the kitchen counter for a week, and she'd kept sleeping with Blake. September 18th. Blake's getting impatient. Wants to know when I'm going to make a decision. I told him soon. Derek's got that Phoenix trip coming up. Maybe while he's gone I can figure out what I really want. September 18th. 5 days before I'd found the text message. The last entry was dated September 22nd, the night before Phoenix. Tomorrow, Derek leaves for Arizona. 3 days. Blake wants to meet Tuesday night, says we need to talk about our future. I think he might give me an ultimatum. Part of me hopes he does. I'm tired of living in this limbo, pretending everything's fine when it hasn't been fine for years. Derek's a good man, a good father. But I don't know if I'm in love with him anymore. I don't know if I ever really was, or if I just love the idea of the life we were supposed to have. I closed the laptop, sat in the silent kitchen of the house we'd bought together 7 years ago. The 4-bedroom colonial with the big backyard and the neighborhood pool access. The life everyone pretends to want. I should have been crying. Should have been throwing things, screaming, breaking down. Instead, I felt cold. Analytical. Like I was reviewing a competitor's strategy, looking for weaknesses. She thought I'd stopped seeing her. Thought I'd relegated her to background decoration in my ambitious life. She had no idea how much I'd noticed. The way she'd started wearing different perfume last spring. How she'd joined a gym in May and suddenly cared about her appearance again. The new lingerie I'd found in her drawer in June. Black lace, Nothing like what she usually wore. I'd assumed it was for me. A surprise she was planning. It hadn't been for me. I'd noticed everything. I just misinterpreted it all as signs of her happiness. Her confidence returning. Never occurred to me she was dressing up for someone else. My phone buzzed. Text from Natalie. Forgot to mention, girls' night tomorrow. Dinner and drinks with Amy and Jessica. I'll be home late. Order pizza for you and the kids? Girls' night. I opened the message thread with Blake on my backup files. Scrolled back through September. There. September 15th. Blake to Natalie. Saturday night? Tell him it's girls' night. We can get a hotel room this time. Stay the whole night. Natalie's response. Perfect. I'll tell him tomorrow. Tomorrow was Saturday. I texted back. Sounds good. Have fun. Don't worry about us. Then I opened a new browser window and searched for divorce attorneys in Austin. Started reading reviews, taking notes, building a list. I had 31 hours before Natalie's girls' night. 31 hours to decide exactly how I wanted to burn her world down. The law office smelled like leather and old books, the kind of place where people came to dismantle their lives with clinical precision. I'd chosen Thursday afternoon for this meeting, 2 days before Natalie's planned hotel rendezvous, while she thought I was touring a fabrication facility in Milwaukee. Instead, I sat across from Gregory Walsh, a divorce attorney whose reputation preceded him. 50-something, silver-haired, with the kind of calm demeanor that suggested he'd seen every variation of human betrayal. I appreciate you seeing me on short notice, I said, sliding the USB drive across his mahogany desk. Walsh picked it up, turning it over in his fingers. Your email mentioned extensive documentation. 5 months of messages, detailed timeline, journal entries, photos, financial records showing unexplained expenses. I kept my voice level. Everything time-stamped and organized chronologically. He plugged the drive into his computer, and I watched his expression remain professionally neutral as he clicked through the folders. The silence stretched for several minutes, broken only by the soft click of his mouse. The journal is particularly damaging, he finally said. Written in her own hand, dated entries. This removes any possibility of her claiming the messages were fabricated or taken out of context. I photographed every page. The original is back in her nightstand, exactly where I found it. Walsh leaned back in his chair. Walk me through the assets. I'd prepared for this. House is worth approximately $640,000. Mortgage balance at $290,000. Joint savings of $127,000. My 401k has $340,000. Hers has $85,000. 2 cars. Mine is paid off. Hers has a $12,000 loan remaining. I have stock options through my company worth roughly $180,000 vested. Children? Emma's 13, Tyler's 10. Your travel schedule for work. How many days per month? Average 15. But I can document that I've been the primary parent when home. School pickups, homework help, weekend activities. Her work schedule is 9 to 5, local. She's had every opportunity to be present. I pulled out another folder. I've got 3 years of calendar data showing my involvement despite the travel. Walsh made notes on a legal pad. Texas is a community property state, but infidelity can impact certain aspects of the settlement, particularly if marital assets were used to facilitate the affair. Hotel rooms, dinners. She's been using our joint credit card. I'd highlighted those charges. Told me they were work lunches or shopping trips. That helps. He looked up from his notes. What's your goal here, Derek? The question hung in the air. I'd been asking myself the same thing during the sleepless nights, the perfect husband performances, the cold calculations. Primary custody, the house. Fair division of assets, but I want to ensure the kid's stability isn't disrupted more than necessary. I paused. And I want this done before she has a chance to drain accounts or establish her own legal strategy. You mentioned in your email that she has a planned meeting this Saturday. Hotel reservation under Blake Cunningham's name. The Westin downtown, room 1847. Check-in at 3 p.m. I'd found the confirmation email in her trash folder, the one she'd forgotten to permanently delete. She told me it's a girls' night with her sister. Walsh's pen moved across the legal pad. Blake Cunningham? That's the affair partner? Correct. He works in commercial real estate. I've identified him through the photos and cross-referenced with her LinkedIn connections. The detective work had been easier than expected. Blake had tagged himself at several locations that matched Natalie's timeline. Married, 2 kids of his own. Wife's name is Jennifer. You're thinking of serving her at the hotel. It wasn't a question. Walsh had clearly done this before. I'm thinking of making it impossible for her to control the narrative, I said. Right now, she believes she's managing 2 lives perfectly. She gets to keep the stable home, the family, the financial security, while having her affair on the side. Blake's getting impatient, pushing her to make a choice, but she keeps stringing him along. I pulled out the printed messages where Blake had written, I can't keep being your secret. Either you're in this or you're not. And Natalie's response, I need more time. The kids. Derek, it's complicated. Just trust me. She wants to have everything, I continued. I'm going to make sure she loses the ability to play both sides. Walsh studied me for a long moment. You understand that serving papers at the hotel will be emotionally devastating? For you as much as for her? I've already been devastated. That happened at 2:47 a.m. in a Phoenix hotel room. The memory felt distant now, like it had happened to someone else. This is just logistics. Fair enough. He made more notes. I'll have papers drawn up by tomorrow afternoon. We'll file Friday morning, serve her Saturday at the hotel. I'll arrange for a process server who can handle potentially volatile situations. I want to be there. Walsh's pen stopped. That's not advisable. I need to see her face when it happens, when she realizes I know everything. The coldness in my voice surprised even me. 5 months she's been lying to my face, kissing me goodbye before meeting him, sleeping next to me after being with him. I've earned the right to watch her world collapse. Derek, I'll stay in the car, outside the hotel. I just need to see her walk in thinking she's gotten away with it, and then see her walk out knowing it's over. Walsh sighed, the sound of a man who'd had this conversation before and lost. Against my legal advice, but I understand. However, you do not approach her. You do not speak to her. The process server handles everything. If you interfere, it could complicate the proceedings. Understood. One more thing. Walsh closed the folder. You mentioned wanting to ensure your children's stability. Have you thought about how you're going to tell them? The question hit harder than I expected. Emma and Tyler had been abstracts in my planning, variables to protect, assets to secure custody of. But they were my kids, 13 and 10. Old enough to understand divorce, young enough to be shattered by it. Not yet, I admitted. Think about it. Because the moment she's served, this becomes real for everyone. Not just you and Natalie. He stood, extending his hand. I'll call you tomorrow when the papers are ready. I shook his hand and left, walking out into the Austin afternoon heat. The parking garage felt like a tomb, my footsteps echoing off concrete walls. In my car, I sat with the engine off, letting the temperature rise until sweat beaded on my forehead. The discomfort felt appropriate, deserved even. My phone buzzed. Natalie. How's Milwaukee? Miss you. Kids want to know if you'll be home for Tyler's soccer game Saturday morning. Saturday morning, before her 3 p.m. hotel check-in. I typed back, Milwaukee's good. Closing the Brennan account. Should be home Friday night. Wouldn't miss Tyler's game. Her response came quickly. Perfect. Emma made honor roll. She's so excited to tell you. Emma. Honor roll. My daughter achieving something important while her mother planned to meet her lover, while I planned to detonate our family. Another message. Love you, babe. Safe travels. I stared at those words. Love you. The same words she'd texted Blake yesterday. The same words she'd written in her journal before describing how Derek, me, made her feel invisible. Love you too, I typed, because old Derek would have. Because the performance wasn't over yet. I started the car and pulled out of the garage, merging into Austin traffic. Tomorrow I'd pick up the divorce papers. Saturday. I'd watch my wife walk into a hotel for an affair and walk out served with the end of our marriage. But tonight, I had to go home and have dinner with my family. Had to help Tyler with his math homework. Had to congratulate Emma on her honor roll. Had to kiss my wife and pretend I didn't know that in 48 hours, everything would be different. The drive home took 20 minutes. Every minute, I practiced my smile in the rearview mirror. By the time I pulled into our driveway, I almost looked like myself again. The process server's name was Linda Garrett. She was 40-something, compact build, graying hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. We met Thursday afternoon at a coffee shop near my office. Neutral ground, Gregory had suggested, though nothing about this felt neutral. I've been doing this for 12 years, Linda said, sliding a laminated card across the table between our coffee cups. Served papers in parking lots, restaurants, weddings. Hotels are actually pretty straightforward. Clean exits, security cameras for my protection, witnesses if things get ugly. Will they? I asked. Get ugly. She studied me with the assessing look of someone who'd seen every possible human reaction to catastrophe. Sometimes. More often, there's just shock, crying. Occasionally, someone tries to run, but that doesn't change anything legally. I nodded, keeping my hands wrapped around my coffee cup to hide the slight tremor. 3 days since I'd sat in Gregory's office. 72 hours of maintaining the performance at home while my insides felt like broken glass. Mr. Walsh said you want to be present during service. Linda's tone was carefully neutral. I have to advise against it. Things can escalate when the spouse is watching, and legally, you gain nothing by being there. I understand. Do you? She leaned forward slightly. Because I've had clients who thought they wanted to see the moment, thought it would feel like justice or closure or whatever. Most of them regret it. The image sticks with you. It's already sticking with me, I said quietly. Every message, every photo, every lie. Linda was silent for a moment, then nodded. Your call. I'll be there at 3:15. The Westin downtown, room 1847. I'll knock, identify myself, hand over the papers. If you're watching, stay in your vehicle. Do not approach. Do not engage. If she sees you and tries to confront you, you drive away. Understood? Understood. She pulled out a manila folder, slid it across the table. Your copies. Petition for divorce. Temporary restraining order regarding marital assets. Custody filing for primary placement of the minor children. Everything Mr. Walsh outlined. I opened the folder, scanned the first page. Patterson vs. Patterson. Cause number D1FM24 YOR 729. District Court, Travis County, Texas. Our marriage reduced to a case number. One more thing, Linda's voice dropped lower. Sometimes the other party is present when I serve, the affair partner. If that's the case, I serve your wife only. But his presence will be noted in my report, which can be useful for your attorney. Blake Cunningham, I said. 6'2", dark hair, athletic build, works in commercial real estate, drives a black Audi Q7. Linda's eyebrow raised slightly. You've done your homework. I've done nothing but homework for 9 days. Tyler's soccer game was Saturday morning at 9. I'd marked it on the calendar weeks ago, back when calendars and schedules still meant something normal. Back when I was old Derek, who believed in the life we'd built. I woke at 6:30, Natalie still sleeping beside me. Her phone was charging on her nightstand, screen dark. No good morning messages from Blake yet. Those usually came around 7, after he'd presumably left for his morning run, the cover story he used to text her without his wife Jennifer seeing. I'd learned their patterns, studied them like a surveillance expert. Shower, coffee, toast for the kids. Emma wandered down at 7:15, still in pajamas, scrolling her phone. Tyler followed 10 minutes later, already in his soccer uniform, shin guards in hand. "Big game today, buddy," I asked, pouring orange juice. "We're playing the Raptors. They're undefeated." Tyler's face was serious, the way 10-year-old boys get about sports. "Coach says if we win, we're in second place." "You'll do great." Natalie appeared at 7:40, wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt. She'd showered, hair still damp, smelling like her coconut shampoo. Not aftershave. Not today. "Morning," she said, kissing my cheek. The casual intimacy of 15 years. "Coffee ready?" "Just made a fresh pot." She smiled, squeezed my shoulder, moved to the counter. I watched her pour coffee, add cream, stir. The same routine as 1,000 other mornings. Except in 8 hours, she'd be in room 1847 at the Westin with Blake Cunningham, and Linda Garrett would be knocking on the door. My phone buzzed. Text from Gregory. "Everything's set for this afternoon. Remember, you don't have to watch. Going home and waiting is also a valid choice." I deleted the message. The soccer field was 15 minutes from our house, tucked behind an elementary school. Bleachers on one side, parents clustered in camping chairs on the other. The morning was clear, temperature already climbing toward 80. Natalie sat beside me, cheering when Tyler's team took the field. She was good at this, the supportive mom role. Enthusiastic, but not overbearing. She knew the other parents' names, brought orange slices for halftime, volunteered for team events. The perfect wife, the perfect mother. I wondered if Blake would be at his own kids' activities this morning, playing the perfect father before sneaking away to the Westin. "He's playing midfield today," Natalie said, pointing as Tyler took position. Coach moved him up from defense. "That's great. You okay? You seem distracted." I turned to look at her. Really look at her. She was beautiful. I'd always thought so. Honey-colored hair, green eyes, the smile that had made me fall in love at 24. 15 years later, and I still saw that girl sometimes. The one I'd married. The one I'd believed in. "Just thinking about work," I lied. "Big presentation Monday." "You'll crush it. You always do." She reached over, squeezed my hand. Her wedding ring caught the sunlight. "I'm proud of you, you know. Everything you do for us." The words should have hurt. Maybe they did. But I'd gone cold somewhere in the past 9 days. The hurt was there, buried under layers of ice and strategy and the methodical planning that had consumed every quiet moment. "Thanks, babe." The game started. Tyler was fast, aggressive, fighting for the ball like his life depended on it. The Raptors were good. Their passes were crisp, their defense tight. But Tyler's team held their own. Natalie's phone buzzed in her lap. She glanced down, smiled slightly, typed something quick. Put the phone away. I didn't need to see the message. I knew. Halftime came. Tyler's team was down 1-0, but they were playing well. Natalie handed out orange slices, chatted with other parents. I stayed in my seat, watching her move through the crowd. Natural. Easy. No hint of the woman who'd written 23 pages in her journal about feeling invisible, about Blake making her feel alive again, about planning her exit strategy. She was good at compartmentalizing. Better than I'd realized. The second half was brutal. Tyler scored in the 43rd minute, a beautiful shot from 15 yards out that sent parents screaming from the sidelines. Natalie jumped up, grabbed my arm, laughing. Did you see that? Did you see it? I saw it. Tyler was grinning, teammates mobbing him. Pure joy on his face. 10 years old, and his biggest worry was whether his team would win the soccer game. In 8 hours, his world would start crumbling. The Raptors scored again with 3 minutes left. Final score, 2-1. Tyler's team lost, but they'd played hard. Tyler walked off the field, sweaty and disappointed but not devastated. That resilience would matter soon. Great game, buddy, I said, pulling him into a hug. He smelled like grass and kid sweat and innocence. We almost had them. You played amazing. That goal was incredible. Natalie kissed the top of his head. So proud of you. Ice cream after lunch? Really? Really, you earned it. We loaded into the car, Natalie's SUV, since we'd all come together. Emma had stayed home, claiming she had homework, which really meant she wanted to video chat with her friends without parental supervision. Tyler chattered about the game from the back seat, replaying every moment. My phone showed 11:47 a.m., 3 hours and 13 minutes until Natalie's check-in time at the Westin. Lunch was burgers at Tyler's favorite place, a local joint with oversized portions and a jukebox that still played actual records. Tyler ordered a bacon cheeseburger, extra pickles. Natalie got a salad, picking at it while scrolling her phone between bites. I watched her check the time. 12:23 p.m. She was probably calculating when she'd need to leave, what excuse she'd use. The girls' night cover story was already in place, dinner and drinks with college friends visiting Austin. She'd told me Thursday, casual and easy, like it was nothing. What time are you heading out tonight? I asked. She looked up, smiled. Probably around 6. Dinner reservation is at 7, but you know how traffic gets downtown on Saturdays. Right, have fun. Thanks. You guys will be okay? I left money for pizza. We'll survive. Tyler finished his burger, demolished his ice cream. We drove home through midday traffic, Natalie humming along to the radio. At one point, she reached over and squeezed my knee. Affectionate, familiar. The gesture of a wife who loved her husband. I wondered if she'd practiced these moments, or if the lies came naturally now. We pulled into the driveway at 1:47 p.m. 1 hour and 13 minutes until her check-in time. Linda Garrett would arrive at 3:15 p.m. I had 98 minutes to hold everything together. The Starbucks was too crowded. I sat in my car across the street instead, watching the hotel entrance through the windshield. 2:23 p.m. 52 minutes. I shouldn't be here. Gregory had been clear about that. Let Linda do her job. You being there serves no purpose except to satisfy an emotional need that could compromise your position. He was probably right. He was definitely right. I stayed anyway. The parking garage gave me a clear sightline to the main entrance. I'd backed into the space, easier exit if needed, though I hadn't articulated what "if needed" meant. My phone sat in the cup holder, silent. Emma was at her friend Kayla's house. Tyler was having a play date with the Brennan kid from his soccer team. Normal Saturday activities for kids whose world was about to detonate. 2:31 p.m. A silver Audi pulled up to the valet stand. I recognized it before I saw the driver. Blake Cunningham stepped out, handed his keys to the attendant, adjusted his jacket. He looked exactly like his LinkedIn photo. Tall, confident, the kind of guy who'd never had to work hard for anything. He checked his phone, smiled at whatever he saw there, and walked into the hotel. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. So he was here. Part of me had wondered if Natalie was meeting him, or if maybe he'd canceled, if this whole thing would somehow unravel differently than I'd planned. But no. He was here, early even, probably already heading up to room 1847 to make sure everything was perfect for her arrival. I thought about following him inside, confronting him in the lobby, asking him what it felt like to destroy a family. But that wasn't the plan, and I'd learned over the past week that deviation from the plan led nowhere good. 2:44 p.m. My phone buzzed. Text from Natalie. At the mall with Jess and Amy. Might catch a movie after. Don't wait up for dinner. Love you. I stared at the heart emoji. She'd added a heart emoji to a lie about committing adultery. The audacity was almost impressive. I didn't respond. 2:51 p.m. A white Honda Civic, Natalie's car, turned into the hotel entrance. She'd parked on the street last time, according to the credit card statements. Learning, adapting, getting better at deception. She handed her keys to the same valet attendant, and I watched her smooth down her dress. The blue one. The one I'd complimented her on last month, told her she looked beautiful in. She'd smiled, kissed my cheek, said, "You're sweet." Now I knew she'd bought it specifically for these meetings. The Nordstrom charge was on the same statement as the first hotel visit. She walked toward the entrance with the confident stride of someone who'd done this before. No hesitation, no guilty glances around. Just a woman walking into a hotel on a Saturday afternoon to meet her lover. I checked the time. 2:54 p.m. Linda would be in position already. Gregory had confirmed it an hour ago. She was in the lobby, had verified the room number with the front desk using the pretext of delivering flowers. Everything was set. Natalie disappeared through the glass doors. I sat in the silence of my car, air conditioning running, and tried to identify what I was feeling. Anger, obviously. Betrayal. But underneath that, something colder. Satisfaction, maybe. That I'd been right. That my documentation was accurate. That the person I'd been living with for the past week, the loving wife, the devoted mother, the woman who'd laughed at Tyler's terrible jokes over lunch, was exactly the fraud I'd proven her to be. 3:02 p.m. My phone rang. Gregory. Derek, please tell me you're not at that hotel. I didn't answer. Christ. Derek, listen to me. You need to leave, right now. If Natalie sees you there, if she can claim you were stalking her or creating a scene, I'm in my car, across the street. I'm not going inside. That's not the point. The point is, I need to know what happened, Gregory. I need to see her walk out of there with those papers in her hand. Silence on the other end. Then, you're making this harder than it needs to be. It's already as hard as it can possibly be. More silence. Linda is about to go up. She'll text me when it's done. I'll forward it to you. That should be sufficient. It should be. But it won't be. No, he sighed. Stay in your car. Don't approach her. Don't engage. If she sees you, drive away immediately. And Derek, turn off your location sharing. If she checks her phone and sees you're at the hotel, already off. Of course it is. He paused. Call me when this is over. He hung up. 3:08 p.m. I imagined what was happening 17 floors above me. Blake opening the door when she knocked. That smile she probably gave him. The one that used to be mine. The kiss. The conversation I'd never hear. The intimacy I'd been replaced in. Then Linda Garrett, walking down the same hallway, checking room numbers, carrying the manila envelope that would end it all. 3:12 p.m. A text from Gregory. Linda's in the elevator. My heart was pounding now. All the cold, analytical distance I'd maintained for a week suddenly felt thin, inadequate. This was real. This was happening. In approximately 3 minutes, Natalie would open that door and receive documentation of the end of our marriage, and there would be no going back from that moment. I could still stop it. One phone call. Tell Linda to abort. Go home, confront Natalie privately, try to work through this like adults. I didn't move. 3:14 p.m. Another text. She's at the door. I watched the hotel entrance like it might somehow show me what was happening inside. The glass doors reflected the afternoon sun. A couple walked out, laughing. A family with luggage walked in. Normal people doing normal things while my life disintegrated 17 floors up. 3:16 p.m. My phone buzzed. Gregory. It's done. 2 words. 15 years of marriage, 2 kids, a house, a life, reduced to 2 words on a screen. I waited. The hotel entrance remained unchanged. People came and went. The valet brought cars around. The world continued like nothing had happened. 3:19 p.m. The glass doors opened and Natalie emerged. Even from across the street, I could see something was wrong. Her posture was different, rigid, mechanical. She held the manila envelope in one hand, her purse in the other. Her face was pale. She stopped on the sidewalk, just stood there, staring at nothing. The valet approached her, said something. She didn't respond. He tried again. She shook her head, waved him away, and started walking. Not to the valet stand. Not to her car. Just walking, directionless, down the sidewalk with that envelope clutched in her hand. I watched her stumble slightly, catch herself against a parking meter. She looked down at the envelope like she couldn't understand what it was. Then she looked up, scanning the street with wild, desperate eyes. Looking for me, I realized. Wondering if I was watching this. If I'd orchestrated it. I sank lower in my seat, irrational as that was. She couldn't see me from this distance, couldn't possibly know which of the dozens of cars in the garage belonged to me. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands, stared at it, put it away, pulled it out again. My phone remained silent. She wasn't calling me. Not yet. 3:23 p.m. Blake emerged from the hotel, moving fast, looking around. He spotted her down the sidewalk, jogged toward her. She turned when he approached, and even from here I could see her body language, defensive, pulling away when he reached for her. They were arguing. His hands were up, placating. Hers were gesturing wildly, the envelope waving like a flag of surrender. This wasn't how I'd imagined it. I'd thought she'd be angry, defiant, ready to fight. Instead, she looked shattered, broken in a way I hadn't anticipated. I felt nothing about that. Blake was still talking, trying to touch her arm. She jerked away, nearly dropping the envelope. Then she did something I didn't expect. She shoved it against his chest, hard enough that he stumbled back. She was yelling now. I couldn't hear the words, but I could see her mouth moving, her face contorted. Then she turned and walked away from him, back toward the valet stand. Blake stood there holding the divorce papers, watching her go. My phone buzzed. Natalie, we need to talk, now. I sat in the car for another 20 minutes after Natalie drove away, watching Blake pace the sidewalk with his phone pressed to his ear. He looked smaller now, diminished. The confident stride from the security footage was gone. He kept running his hand through his hair, gesturing frantically at nothing. My phone buzzed again. Natalie. Third call in 10 minutes. I started the engine and pulled out of the parking garage, heading the opposite direction from home. I wasn't ready for that conversation yet. Wasn't ready to see her face, to hear whatever justifications she'd prepared during the drive back. Gregory had been clear about the next steps. Don't engage, don't argue, don't give her ammunition for a fault-based counterclaim. Texas was a no-fault state anyway, but judges were human. They remembered which spouse kept their composure. I drove to the office instead. Saturday afternoon, the building was nearly empty. I badged in, took the elevator to the 5th floor, and locked myself in my office. The framed photo on my desk showed the 4 of us at South Padre Island last summer. Emma was mid-laugh. Tyler had sand in his hair. Natalie's arm was around my waist. I turned it face down. My phone rang again. This time I answered. Derek. Her voice was wrecked, raw from crying. Derek, please, where are you? At the office. You knew you were there. I saw your car leaving the garage. Yes. A choke sound, half sob, half gasp. How long have you known? Long enough? Derek, please come home. We need to talk about this. I can explain. There's nothing to explain, Natalie. I've read the messages. All of them. I've seen the photos. I found your journal. I kept my voice level, mechanical. I know about the hotel in April, the conference room at his office. The afternoon you told me you were at Emma's parent-teacher conference, but you were actually at his apartment. Silence. Then, you went through my journal? I went through everything. That's a violation of my privacy. Your privacy. The laugh that came out of me was sharp, humorless. That's what concerns you right now. Your privacy. I didn't mean it like that. Derek, please, come home. Let me see you. Let's talk face to face. Where are the kids? At my mom's. I dropped them off this morning before. She trailed off. Good. Keep them there tonight. I'll pick them up tomorrow afternoon. Derek, I'll be home in 2 hours. I need you gone when I get there. Gone? This is my house, too. Read the papers, Natalie. Temporary orders. You have until 8 p.m. to pack what you need and leave. You can stay at Blake's place, or your mom's, or a hotel. I don't care. But you won't be sleeping in our house tonight. You can't just kick me out. Gregory already filed the emergency motion. Judge Brennan signed it at 4 p.m. You received official notice when you were served. I pulled up the email on my laptop, scanned the legalese. Exclusive use of marital residence pending final hearing. It's all in there. This is insane. You're being insane. I'm following legal procedure. There's a difference. Derek, please. Her voice cracked. 15 years. We've been together 15 years. That has to mean something. You can't just throw it away. I didn't throw it away. The words came out colder than I intended. You did. Every time you texted him. Every time you met him. Every time you came home and kissed me with the same mouth you'd used on him. She was crying now, harsh sobs that might have moved me a week ago. I made a mistake. I know I did. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end it with Blake. I'll never see him again. I'll do whatever you want. You already ended it with Blake. I watched him throw your hotel keycard in the trash. Another silence. Then, quietly, you were watching. Yes. That's stalking, Derek. That's not normal. Nothing about this situation is normal. I closed the laptop. 2 hours, Natalie. Be gone when I get there. I hung up before she could respond. The office felt too quiet. I could hear the HVAC system cycling, the distant hum of the building's electrical systems. Outside the window, Austin sprawled in the late afternoon sun. Highways and high-rises, and the Colorado River cutting through downtown. My phone buzzed with a text. Not Natalie this time. Unknown number. This is Blake. We should talk. I stared at the message for a long moment, deleted it without responding. Another text, seconds later. I know you're angry. I would be too. But Natalie and I care about each other. This isn't some casual thing. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Gregory's voice in my head. Don't engage. Nothing good comes from confronting the affair partner. I typed anyway. You don't get to care about my wife. You don't get to have an opinion about my marriage. You're nothing. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Blake. She was unhappy. She told me you're never home, that you prioritize work over family. Maybe if you'd paid attention to your marriage, this wouldn't have happened. The rage that hit me was white-hot, blinding. My hands shook as I typed, You know nothing about my marriage. You know the version she told you while she was trying to justify sleeping with you. That's not reality. That's the story cheaters tell themselves so they can sleep at night. Blake. I'm just saying, there are 2 sides to every story. Me. There's no side where sleeping with someone else's wife is justified. There's no side where lying to your own wife is justified. You're married too, Blake. Does Jennifer know where you were this afternoon? The dots disappeared. No response. I added, I have screenshots of everything, every message, Every photo. If you contact me again, if you contact Natalie again, I send them to Jennifer. I send them to your employer. I send them to everyone in your contact list. Are we clear? Still no response. I put the phone face down on the desk and focused on breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The technique Emma's therapist had taught her for managing anxiety. Funny how these things circled back. My email pinged. Gregory. Motion approved. Temporary orders in effect. She has until 8 p.m. to vacate. TCPD is aware in case she refuses to leave. Don't be there when she packs. Give her space. Don't engage in person. Call me if any issues. I checked the time. 5:43 p.m. 2 hours and 17 minutes until the deadline. I couldn't go home yet. Couldn't watch her pack her things. Couldn't risk a face-to-face confrontation. Gregory was right about that. Instead, I pulled up the folder on my laptop labeled Evidence Do Not Delete. 573 screenshots. 42 photos. Bank statements showing $3,847 in hotel charges over 5 months. Credit card receipts from restaurants I'd never been to. The journal entries, photographed page by page. April 3rd. Saw Blake at the coffee shop again. We talked for almost an hour. He's so easy to talk to. He actually listens, actually seems interested in what I have to say. Derek called twice during our conversation. Work emergency, as always. April 18th. Blake asked me to lunch. I know I shouldn't. I know this is dangerous, but God, it felt good to be seen, to be wanted. Derek hasn't looked at me like that in years. May 2nd. We kissed today. I initiated it. I don't even feel guilty. Is that terrible? Maybe I'm a terrible person. But I felt alive for the first time in so long. I closed the laptop. I'd read it all before, memorized the timeline, but it still hit like a physical blow. The casual way she documented it. The complete absence of remorse until much later, and even then it was performative, self-pitying. I know this makes me a bad person, but my phone rang. Not Natalie this time. Emma. I answered immediately. Hey, sweetheart. Dad? Her voice was small, uncertain. Grandma says you and Mom are having some problems. She won't tell me what's wrong. Is everything okay? The hardest conversation of my life happened in my daughter's bedroom, 3 weeks after I served Natalie the divorce papers. Emma sat on her bed, hugging a pillow to her chest. Tyler was beside her, looking smaller than his 10 years. They'd been living with me since that Saturday. Natalie had visitation on weekends, supervised by her mother until the custody evaluation was complete. Your mom and I are getting divorced, I said. The words still felt foreign in my mouth. It's not because of anything you did. It's not because we don't love you. Sometimes adults make choices that break things that can't be fixed. Is it because of Blake? Emma's voice was quiet but steady. 13 years old and she'd already figured it out. Kids always do. Yes, partly. Mom said you're being unfair, that you won't even try counseling. I took a breath, choosing my words carefully. Gregory had warned me about parental alienation, about saying things that could be used against me. But I also refused to lie to my children. Your mom made choices that broke my trust. When trust is broken badly enough, sometimes it can't be repaired. That doesn't mean she's a bad person or a bad mother. It means we can't be married anymore. Tyler's eyes were wet. Do we have to choose between you? No, buddy, never. You'll have both of us, just in different houses. I want to stay here, he said quietly. With you. Is that okay? Emma nodded. Me too. The divorce was finalized 4 months later, on a gray February morning. Judge Brennan reviewed the evidence dispassionately. The messages, the journal entries, the financial records. Natalie's attorney tried to argue that my surveillance of her activities constituted harassment, but Gregory dismantled that argument efficiently. I'd accessed shared accounts we both owned. I'd documented infidelity that was relevant to custody and asset division. The settlement was straightforward. I got primary custody, 70% of parenting time. Natalie got every other weekend and alternating holidays. The house was mine. We split the savings 50-50. Her 401k stayed hers. Mine stayed mine. She paid her own legal fees. Blake's wife, Jennifer, filed for divorce 6 weeks after I sent her the screenshots. I felt no satisfaction about that. Just a dull recognition that consequences ripple outward, touching people who never asked to be involved. A year later, I stood in the kitchen of the same house, watching Tyler practice soccer drills in the backyard. Emma was upstairs on a video call with friends. Normal Saturday afternoon sounds. Natalie had moved to San Antonio, closer to her mother. She'd started dating someone new, a divorced father she'd met through a support group. The irony wasn't lost on me. She saw the kids regularly, and to her credit, she'd stopped making excuses or blaming me for the divorce. Growth, maybe, or just acceptance. I'd been on a few dates myself. Nothing serious. Wasn't sure I was ready for serious, might never be. Trust was a fragile thing, and mine had been shattered so thoroughly that I wasn't sure all the pieces could be found, let alone reassembled. But I had my kids. I had the career I'd built. I had the clarity that comes from surviving something you thought would destroy you. Emma asked me once, months after everything settled, if I regretted how I'd handled it. If I wished I'd confronted Natalie differently, given her a chance to explain before lawyers got involved. I thought about it honestly before answering. No, I said, because the moment I found those messages, the marriage was already over. I just hadn't accepted it yet. Everything after that was just logistics. That sounds cold, Dad. Maybe. But sometimes cold is what you need to survive. She considered this, then nodded slowly. I think I understand. The truth I learned through all of this is simple, brutal, and worth remembering. You can't control other people's choices. You can only control your response. Natalie chose to betray 15 years of marriage. She chose to lie, to sneak around, to build a separate life while pretending our family was intact. Those were her choices, her agency, her moral failure. My choice was refusing to be a victim of those decisions. My choice was documentation over confrontation, strategy over emotion, protection of my children over preservation of a marriage that existed only as performance. Some people called me cold, calculating, said I should have fought for my marriage, tried counseling, given her a second chance. But second chances are for mistakes, for errors in judgment, for things done in moments of weakness that are immediately regretted. This wasn't a mistake. It was a sustained campaign of deception spanning 5 months, involving careful planning, deliberate lies, and active choices made every single day. You don't rebuild from that. You survive it and move forward. Tyler scored 3 goals in his game last weekend. Emma made the honor roll again and got accepted into the advanced placement program. We have pizza nights on Fridays and movie marathons on rainy Sundays. The house feels smaller now with just the 3 of us, but also more honest. No performances, no pretending. Sometimes late at night when the kids are asleep and the house is quiet, I think about that notification at 2:47 a.m. in a Phoenix hotel room. The moment everything changed. The screenshot that revealed a truth I hadn't been looking for but couldn't ignore once I found it. I don't regret finding it. I don't regret how I handled what came after. Because the alternative, living in ignorance, being the fool who didn't know, raising my children in a house built on lies, that would have been worse than any divorce. The truth cost me my marriage, but it gave me back my self-respect, my agency, and the ability to look my children in the eye and know I'd protected them the best way I knew how. In the end, That's all any of us can do. Make the hard choices, accept the consequences, and keep moving forward. The life we have now isn't the one I planned. It's smaller, quieter, missing the pieces I thought were permanent. But it's real. And after 15 years of living in a beautiful lie, real is enough.